everybody. What's going on? Is the camera messed up and the lights messed up?
No, that's good to me. No, I think you got it.
Seriously?
I think you got it. Yeah, I think you got it.
Go me.
Right. That looks about right. I think that looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it did too, but, you weren't in here, so.
Okay, past couple reviews we've been, actually, not only reviews on some of the shows, too, we've been talking about some of the Hammer Horror vampire movies.
Yeah,
that we were
Christopher
watching.
Lee.
Well, I was looking at what Hammer Horror films were available on, I think it was on,
This might have been on Amazon Prime.
On Amazon Prime, I think. I saw this one, Batman versus Dracula.
The Batman
versus Dracula. Animated.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that sounds like a good idea if it's done right. So, and I like the animated superhero movies, especially the Batman ones. I really liked Red Sun. That was a good one too.
That was Superman, right?
Communist Superman. Yeah, that's a good one.
Didn't we did Mask of the Phantasm, right? Did we?
I don't know. I don't think. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that was that other Superman movie, wasn't it?
No, Batman.
Batman. Yeah, I forgot about it now.
I know we've done a few animated ones. I remember us doing Red Sun, but that was
Superman. Mask of the Phantasm. We have to see it again. I forgot it.
Yeah.
I want to see one that has Bane in it.
Yeah.
But there are certain aspects of superhero stories that really only come across in animation. I mean, the Christopher Nolan movies I thought were really good. The old Superman movies, Superman 1, 2, and 1 to 4. 3 wasn't that good. 4 was a fucking shit show, but I loved it. It was a canon film. But they still can't capture animation. What it was like. The certain character powers and shit, certain things that happen in superhero stories really kind of only make sense in animation. So I was like, I want to see this one. We watched it, and I thought it was really good.
This was a lot of fun. I thought
it's a very good vampire story, and it's Dracula.
Yeah, it's not the Dracula.
Yeah, it's Dracula. And Batman knows who Dracula is. I mean, it's a pretty involved story, and it shows what would happen. It's almost kind of like a what if. Well, here it is. You see it. This is what would happen when Batman has to deal with a vampire, and not only any old vampire. He deals with a bunch of vampires and Dracula, and it's pretty awesome. The Joker and the Penguin let him out. He was buried in Gotham Cemetery.
Like, not on purpose.
Yeah,
they did it accidentally.
Yeah, they accidentally let him out. He was hidden in Gotham City Cemetery, and he didn't even Dracula didn't know how he got moved there. But
they never really explained that, do they? They just said, "Oh, that must have happened after I died," and then they just kind of forgot about
how he got it there.
So
he was there in this big vault. They let him out, and one of the first things Dracula does is he turns the Penguin into a thrall.
Yeah, he doesn't turn him into a vampire.
No,
he turns him into like a daylight servant.
Yeah, and he decides he's going to turn all of Gotham City into vampires.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Right, and now he eventually turns the Joker into into vampire too. That's pretty.
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting.
So you get to see what Joker would be like as a vampire.
It's pretty crazy.
And well, Cobblepot, or Penguin. He tells Dracula about Batman, and he starts vibing with this Batman concept. So he's not the only man that takes the form of a bat. Right. So Dracula goes on this damn vampire fucking crime spree and frames Batman. People think that it's Batman that's doing this, that Batman's the vampire.
He's like making all these people disappear.
Making these people disappear, and it's pretty cool. Bruce Wayne meets Dracula at a party, of course, and Dracula fucks him up, mind warps his ass because he's got mental powers. All the weakness a mortal would have, Batman has it, but he tries to overcome it. He does overcome it. He comes up with some good ideas. I don't want to spoil everything about the movie, but I think it was a good movie. I liked it. It was a solid vampire movie. The Dracula character had a lot of good lines. He did a lot of cool shit. He had different looks. When you first see him, he just looks like a damn bones, and then he comes out and he looks like an evil ghoul for a while, and then he finally turns into, kind of a suave kind of guy. But when he goes straight vampire, he almost turns into a superhero himself, really, which is right along with the theme of of a superhero movie. They show what a fight would be like. Batman really didn't stand a chance, but he
gets his ass kicked.
Gets his ass kicked, but he does eventually.
Which he would. It's Dracula.
Yeah, he does eventually defeat Dracula.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, Murder Hornet has come back to Flashbulbs. Welcome back to Flashbulbs.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Murder
very much.
Hornet.
Yeah.
Danny Rowling said the Batman Year One cartoon 2-part saga is also really good, with Batman voiced by Peter Weller as an old Batman.
Okay.
Also, Larry Brown says, love this movie. The Batman is a great animated series as well. Happy to see you guys talking about this one. Yeah, we just kind of picked it randomly because, like I said, we were going through all the Batman movies, all the Dracula movies, because we were doing a bunch of Hammer Dracula.
This was in with?
And this was just kind of, we were just searching for all the Dracula movies, of which there were many. And so this one turned up, and Tom's like, that sounds pretty cool. We should actually watch that.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Danny Rowling said there's a Batman film where it's an old school Batman from the 1800s where he goes against Jack the Ripper, a.k.a. Commissioner Gordon, as Jack the Ripper.
It's there. I want to see it.
And there was also a samurai style Batman
it's on
cartoon.
there also.
I think that's all. Most of that is on there.
Samurai Batman.
But I didn't even realize, because I'm not real up on all the comics and everything like that. So I didn't even realize that Batman the Animated Series and The Batman were two separate animated series. I'm not sure when Batman the Animated Series was on. The Batman, which is what this is spinning off of, was, I think, 2004 to 2008. So that's in this universe. So I guess like the other one, because isn't Batman the Animated Series, isn't that the one that has Mark Hamill doing the Joker?
I think so.
Because this one is a different guy.
I don't know them all.
I don't either.
I've only seen a few of them. And by chance, I picked them at random. And this is one of them. And I like this one a lot. If you like vampire movies, this is a good vampire movie. And if you like Batman, this is a good Batman movie too.
Yeah, they did kind of some cool shit with this.
Yeah.
I really liked... I mean, I like the concept. I don't think this is the first time. I think there was, when I looked it up, there was a comic, I think it was called Red Rain, where Batman fights Dracula. But I think Batman turns into a vampire in order to fight him, which is also a good option. He doesn't do it in this one, though. But it's like, I like that. So you also had the Penguin and the Joker both in this. And like at the beginning, you kind of think, well, do you think the Joker gets killed? But the Joker in this one is not the same, I guess, the same in-universe Joker as the one that's in the other animated series. Because I remember that one being different.
He doesn't look human.
He looks kind of like way crazier in this one. Like he's got like a big, like his hair looks like a jester hat kind of, and he's like runs around with bare feet all the time. And you get one of the best sequences in this is when after Joker gets turned into a vampire, because he does, he goes to rob a blood bank, and then Batman has to go fight him at the blood bank. And like the way they shoot it, it's really cool. It's just like black and green, like with all these like big stripes and everything like that. Like the visuals in this were really cool, I thought.
Yeah.
And I thought too that, you know, the guy that did the voice of, because I was watching some other reviews of this, and this seems to get like pretty decent reviews across the board. A lot of people kind of quibble with the guy that did the voice of Penguin, which I think is also the same dude that does SpongeBob.
I thought he was fine.
I think it's Tom Kenny.
Yeah. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, some of the jokes are kind of like dad jokes or like kind of puns and stuff like that, but it's just kind of like, I liked this because it's like, it seemed like it was aimed toward kids, kind of.
It was fun for the whole
family.
But
it was also, but it's also like adults could really enjoy it, because there were some parts of it that were like legit scary. There was just kind of like really scary imagery in it. They actually, like, people actually got shot at, which, I heard that the other episodes of the animated series, you know, they would just shoot with like lasers and stuff like that. But this one seemed like actual machine guns and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like Batman was getting shot at by like a fucking SWAT team or some shit. Because for a while they thought he was the one kidnapping everybody, because people were just like, I saw this big bat, and then the person disappeared.
Yeah, the tone is kind of, it does have comedic relief. Cobblepot's kind of funny, and so it is kind of. Kids would like it, and it's not so much that it would turn off an adult, and then it would get kind of more serious, like an old school Universal vampire movie or something.
Yeah,
or even a Hammer vampire movie, but it was animated, and then it would kind of, there'd be some more comedic relief here and there. I just thought it was a decent mix for the whole family, you know. I mean, if you could just, an adult man could watch it, I watched it. I thought it was cool. You can get away with a lot more in an animated story.
That's true.
You're more forgiving of the tones.
Because one thing I thought was kind of interesting, like I said, as far as it being geared toward kids, which I guess it sort of is, but the sequence that I was talking about before where Batman fights Joker in the blood bank, that's actually, had they used red ink instead of black for all the blood, that would have been like super, super gory.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Joker is just kind of like covered in blood at one point.
Yeah, he was trying to drink it all up.
Yeah, he was like trying to drink it all, like out of the bags and everything. And it's like, I guess that's how they kind of get around stuff. There's like, well, we'll just make the lighting such that, the blood looks black so it doesn't look quite as alarming, like with this red blood flying everywhere.
It was a trip. Batman was drunk. He eventually captured Joker and had him in a cell. And he was begging for blood. He was dying for it. And to try to control him, Batman was giving him little bags of his blood. He was taking his own blood, giving it to him.
Have this little
and he wanted to know where Dracula slept. I don't think he ever gave it up, though, did he?
You know what? He did.
He did.
Yeah, in the end, he did. I think he kind of said it.
It was enough to figure out.
Inadvertently, yeah.
Just enough to figure it out, right.
Because the thing about it is that, like I said, they don't really explain, and it doesn't matter, it's a cartoon, for Christ's sake. They don't really explain, like, how Dracula got there. Like, Dracula basically just said, oh, well, this shit must have happened after I died.
They showed a quick montage of him being placed on a boat.
On a boat or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, because he was ashes.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was how... Because didn't Penguin, like, find him in the vault... Well, I guess he was kind of like a skeleton-y kind of.
He was like a skeleton.
And then he bled on him.
Yeah, he'd been cut.
Like he cut himself.
He was trying to pry it open.
Because he thought treasure was in there.
Yeah, he thought he was prying it open with that.
With a crowbar?
No,
it was
his umbrella. It had a blade on the end of it.
That's right.
He slipped and cut himself, and it went onto that body. And he turned his back on it and walked off, and it started to grow back, and it stood up out of there, and it freaked him out. They were scared of it, which is kind of cool. The Joker and Penguin were scared shitless of it. They didn't know that vampires were real.
Well, I mean, I guess you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because, they're supervillains and everything, but they don't really have supernatural powers.
Right. They didn't realize that undead existed.
Right. And can I say, I really, really liked the Dracula in this. He was super cool.
Yeah, he's cool, yeah.
I recognized that voice. I'm like, who the fuck's voice is that? Because I know that voice. It was Peter Stormare. And he was in... You would probably know he was in a bunch of Coen Brothers movies. He was in The Big Lebowski.
Okay, yeah.
He was in Fargo. He was in Constantine. He was in Nacho Libre.
Yeah.
He's been in a fuck
I love
ton.
Nacho Libre.
He's a big fucker, big Swedish actor.
Yeah.
So he had that accent. So I was just kind of like, man, I know that fucking voice, and I was trying to like place it, but then I found out who it was afterward.
I thought it was a tight flick, man. And good voice acting, good story. It kept me entertained through the whole thing. Wasn't any boring spots in it, that's one of the good things about animated stories. There's no dead time in it. You can't have a boring spot really in a animated. Well, you probably could, but it would suck. You know what I mean? It has the same. The story moves along at the speed of reading a comic book, and we're used to these superhero stories being told to us in film like they're realistic. That's not how they originally were like back in the 70s when you were a kid writing them. Reading those comic books was more like watching this. That's what it was like.
Well, and I think
I can kind of relive it. Like, yeah, that's what a comic book's like.
I think that's why a lot of the people that like the comics like these animated ones, because it is a very similar experience.
You're right. So, yeah.
But, like I said, this isn't really the first time, I guess, in the comics or anything like that they've done this Batman v Dracula face-off. But, and I haven't read the Red Rain one that was supposedly based on that. But I liked how they did this because I said I liked the fact, look, if Batman... Like, what are you doing? She's pulling all the books out of the thing again. She's like, you guys are not paying attention to me, so I'm going to pull all your books out of your bookshelf. So, fuck it. Yeah, she's doing it. I like that. I'm sitting there thinking... How is Batman, who has no supernatural powers, all he has is like a fuck ton of money and like all these gadgets and stuff, how would you fight Dracula, who has all of these supernatural powers? And I like I said, Red Rain, I think they went the route of Batman becoming a vampire also, so he would be on equal footing, which is also a good idea. But they didn't do that in this one. I like the fact that they used like Batman Bruce Wayne's tech skills and his money and stuff like that to kind of solve the problem. You know what I mean? Like, I like that they went that route with it because it was like very in character. So it was like in real life, like Dracula would just whip his ass. And he did whip his ass like several times. I really liked the fight too between Batman and Dracula, like on the rooftops or whatever, because I thought that was cool as hell. Like, Dracula has this cape, but it wasn't like a regular like all one piece cape. It was kind of like all these
petals,
like it almost looked like tentacles or petals or
Yeah.
something like that. So like every time he went, they kind of go over like octopus tentacles, and I thought that was like a really cool. I thought that was a really cool look.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, in the spirit of a comic book movie, an animated comic book movie, you can't have Dracula as a static fucking figure like Bela Lugosi or anything. He's portrayed as basically a superhero or supervillain.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of the same supervillain. He's kind of like Superman in a way, evil Superman. He can move extremely fast. He could dodge anything you throw at him. He could dodge it. He's got powers of mind control.
Did he turn into a bat at any point?
I don't think he ever.
I don't think he changed into a bat. I don't think he could shapeshift.
No, I don't think he shaped.
They didn't address that. But he could. I mean, and
he could vanish into his shadows though.
Yeah.
Remember
like
that?
he could do that.
He was getting ready to kill Batman at one time. The sun came up, so he just moved back. It was cool the way they drew it.
Yeah, I like that.
And he went into a in between two buildings into a alleyway, and there was still a little bit of a shadow there, and you could see his eyes glowing in that shadow. And then when the sun came, it all just kind of faded away.
Yeah, that was really cool.
He became one with the shadows and then vanished along with the shadow. That's a hell of a vampire trick. To just vanish into a shadow and then the shadow vanishes.
Yeah,
that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I really liked that whole the look of that.
Yeah.
And I also like too, because here was the thing, like, this is good storytelling because I think that they really built this up really well. So you not only have your kind of just run-of-the-mill Batman villains, you got Joker and you got Penguin that you got to deal with, and then they both kind of throw in their lot with Dracula at some point too. But then you also have to contend with Dracula making other vampires.
Yeah, he's got an army of them.
And so and this is kind of going by, because I know vampire lore is different from like medium to medium, but this one is going on the thing that everybody that he bites turns into a vampire too.
Unless he kills them
and then just eats them. But it seemed like he was mostly just keeping them like for a vampire.
Well, his mission was to turn all of Gotham City into a city of the undead. So he was
that was his whole thing.
So he wasn't drinking them or killing them. He was just biting them.
Yeah.
So his numbers would increase.
He didn't turn Penguin into one though.
No.
He just kind of made him. I guess he just needed one dude to like do shit.
That's what he said. Yeah. He said he was going to be a servant.
Yeah.
Did it with his eyes. He didn't have to give him any blood or anything.
Yeah, it was like a hypnosis.
Just
thing.
hypnotized him, and he was a willing servant and everything. He's kind of cool as a thrall. He's kind of funny. Yeah. He's kind of a comedic character, and he simps a lot. For Dracula, simping for Dracula. That was pretty cool.
I want to write a novel called Simping for Dracula.
Yeah. It's a gay porn novella called Simping
Although I
Dracula.
guess they've already made that movie and it was called Renfield. So
Simping for Dracula.
Because he was pretty much simping for Dracula.
Yeah.
Although he stood on his own 2 feet at the end.
Yeah.
But also Vicky Vale is in this.
That's right. And of course, Dracula's got his eyes on Vicky Vale. He's going to make her his vampire bride.
Well, sort of.
Kind of, yeah.
But I also
he was then going to take her fucking soul and use it to bring his first wife back.
Yeah, I like that they also
idea.
Incorporated Dracula's bride, and it was Carmilla Karnstein.
Yeah.
So I was like, so they knew their vampire.
And here's the cool thing. They let him bring Carmilla back without totally killing Vicky Vale, so you could see it happen.
Yeah.
But then they stopped the procedure. If you watch the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they're just going to tease bringing Carmilla back. They do, just that she's not back for long.
Yeah.
Because it would kill Vale if they did it.
And they can't do that.
They can't do that. So another thing that was about the movie that I liked, it had a whole bunch of Easter eggs in it. They called all the people who had been turned into vampires. They called them the Lost Ones, kind of like the Lost Boys.
Yeah.
What else? Vampire fucking Easter eggs.
Yeah,
There's a
they
bunch
had all
them in
kind of
there.
stuff in there.
All kinds of shit was
Although, one thing I will...
they Alucard. They call
that's what I was
Dracula.
gonna say.
That's Easter egg.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So, the thing about it, and here's the thing, and I know this is, like I said, a little bit geared more toward kids and stuff, but it's like, so, Dracula shows up at this big party that Batman is giving, that Bruce Wayne is giving.
Yeah, it's in all the Batman movies.
He's always going to have like a big
party.
charity ball or whatever. Yeah. So he's got that going on.
He's eating steak tartare and shit.
Yeah, so Well, I thought that was kind of funny because he's just like, ooh, steak tartare. You know what I mean? Like, because he's Dracula.
Yeah,
know,
and what was cool...
But then Vicky was like, ooh, I'm like, hey, you bitches served that. Like, why are you getting all grossed out?
What was cool about that part of the scene is that that scene was shouting out to the old scene with Bela Lugosi where they're trying to wine and dine and be polite, before they call Dracula out by trying to trap him, getting him to look into a mirror. They did something similar to that. Batman knew that it was Dracula.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, but it's just kind of like there'd been all these mysterious disappearances around Gotham, and then this unusual Eastern European man shows up looking very much like a vampire at this party
called Alucard,
saying his name is Alucard. And I love that Batman, or Bruce Wayne rather, had to write Alucard on like a tray and then put it in a mirror. They always show
the audience. He had to show the audience.
They always do that in movies. I'm like, do you not can you not just do that in your head? Like,
it's another Easter egg.
Why do you have to like write?
And they got that from other vampire movies. I kind of thought it was great because the kids probably hadn't seen that one, and the adults would fucking understand.
And they'd be like, "Oh, okay."
The adults are like, "Okay, yeah, I gotcha."
Although in real life, if Dracula was real, which he may be, we don't know, but I'm just saying that if Dracula was real, you'd think that he wouldn't just use like different iterations of his name. Like if he wanted to keep on the down low, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you could make up a whole new name. No one would know.
But there's an audience you got to worry about. There's an audience.
I'm just saying that in real life, if there was a real Dracula and he was worried about getting staked or whatever,
the identities of a victim.
Yeah, you'd every 80 years or something, you'd have to go through a process and like change your name and all this other kind of shit, so no one would catch you. You can't just go around being like, I'm Dr. Acula, like Ed Wood. You know what I mean? You can't do that kind of shit. Because it's like everybody's like, you're Dracula. No, I'm
Dr. Acula.
Nothing to do with Dracula. Nothing at all.
So they offer Dracula some hors d'oeuvres, and he goes, "Oh yeah, steak of tartare." And he eats that, but he didn't eat the bread. It was on.
He just sucked it off.
It was on a cracker. He's eating just immediately. He's like, "Oh, like that." And Bruce Wayne had the other tray. And he goes, here's some garlic shrimp. Try it. And he's like, and he goes, it has quite a punch. And he's going, oh, you bitch, you.
So I liked it. Yeah. So I thought it was like funny. It was just funny because it seemed like from that whole exchange, it seemed like Bruce Wayne was like, bitch, I know you're a vampire, you know what I mean? But then the fact that he had to write down Alucard on the thing and like put it in the mirror and show it to Alfred, you know what I mean? It's like, look at this, So I just thought that was kind of funny. Also, Alfred was like pretty proactive in this. I liked Alfred in this too. Yeah, he helped out a lot. Like I think he even got kind of his ass kicked a little bit by a vampire.
They show the Batmobile, but only briefly. It was
you only see it from the back.
Yeah, only see it from the back, and it looked like some kind of badass futuristic Corvette. They never really showed the whole thing. I wanted to see another. I wish it had a scene with a driving scene, but Dracula didn't have a vehicle, so you'd have to chase him. And when they were chasing Dracula, he was chasing him on foot, and flying around chasing him.
Yeah.
So I guess there was no call for the Batmobile, but at least they showed the Batmobile.
Yeah. I mean, you can't. Maybe they're contractually obligated to show it.
Batmobile.
But the thing about it is that, like I said, in real life, and Dracula's not real, I know, but it's just kind of like if Batman was chasing Dracula, I don't think he'd be able to catch up with him just running. Maybe you'd have a better chance in a car. Is all I'm saying. Like using a car to chase Dracula, because you wouldn't be able to you could run after him. He'd just go, or he'd fly, or turn into a bat and fly away, or whatever the fuck. I don't remember if he actually he kind of flew in this one, didn't he?
Who?
Dracula.
Yeah, he could hover.
Yeah, he seemed like because he was kind of flying around and like on the, you know what I mean? But I don't think he ever turned into a bat though. But there were like a lot of bat.
And he basically teleported away when he vanished inside that shadow.
Yeah, that's right. And he could do that like where he could go like and then like turn up behind you and shit. Yeah, he could do that kind of stuff.
He could teleport, bilocate and shit.
He can bilocate. Ben says they made a couple of these animated films with Vicky Vale after the Batman movie. She's a totally two-dimensional fake girlfriend in Mask of the Phantasm. Obviously a bit more involved in this one. Yeah, she was actually in this one quite a bit because she was, reporting on the case of all the disappearances. Because at first, like, nobody knew what was going on. Like, nobody knew that people weren't turning up dead. Like, oh my god, a vampire bit them. You know what I mean? So I kind of liked that too because in a lot of vampire movies, in a lot of Dracula movies, you have a thing where, you have the Van Helsing character being like, let me see their neck, and oh my god, it's Nosferatu, or whatever. But they didn't really do that with this one. That's why nobody knew what was going on, because Dracula was just biting these people and then just keeping them in his underground lair, like, as his little army. So they were like little vampire zombie type people.
Yeah.
So nobody knew what had happened to them. It was just all these people disappearing. So nobody was turning up dead, so nobody knew, like, exactly what was happening with the
when they turn in this one, when they turn to vampires, they don't look like mortal humans anymore.
Yeah,
they look more like a ghoul.
Although Joker still had his whatever mental faculties he had.
I think the other ones did too. They were just obeying.
Yeah, I guess they didn't really do too much with because they mostly just kind of seemed like monsters.
Yeah,
because like the first one he turned was that security guard guy, right? And then like that woman that had like her purse snatched or something.
Joker stayed the same. He just looked different too.
Yeah, he just looked more like vampire-y. It was like drinking blood out of pouches and stuff. So he was acting like crazier, but he acts crazy anyway. So
and Joker didn't look human before he was turned into a vampire in this story. Anyway, he looked more like Eddie from fucking Iron Maiden or something.
Yeah, he got like those big weird teeth and like a face that almost kind of looks like a mask. He kind of looked like the comedy tragedy masks. That's kind of what his face looks like.
Kind of looked like the Predator mask to me.
Oh yeah, a little bit, like
kinda
with the hair.
Yeah, with the hair and a Predator mask. He just but he had a mouth, But I'm just saying, he looked mechanical or something.
Tammy said, "Yeah, just call yourself Jeff Vader." Yeah, right. Well, I know, like the Welcome to the Basement / Blame Society guys, he had a long running series, it might still be going, called Chad Vader, that was like Darth Vader's like middle management brother or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, Eddie Izzard does a bit about like fucking Darth Vader in the cafeteria at the Death Star and stuff, and it's really funny. Ben says Count Dracula is a title, so you could call yourself that for centuries.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, I would kind of want to, if I was Dracula, I would kind of want to keep shit on the down low. So I would just kind of like change my name every 80 or so years.
Just means Count Dragon. That's all it means. So yeah, it's not quite a name. His real name was Vlad Tepish or Sepish.
Yeah. Well, that just means the Impaler.
Yeah.
Sepish. That wasn't really his last name. That just meant the Impaler.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
And then
it's from my understanding.
And
I don't speak
his dad was Dracula.
Yeah.
And he was Dracula, son of the dragon.
Son of the dragon, yeah.
But these are titles.
Yeah. Danny Rowling says Garth Vader. That's the country music version.
Yeah.
Or Vlad the Inhaler. Yeah. That's the asthmatic vampire. But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to watch some more of these animated superhero things. And like I said, the Batman versus Dracula, like, I kind of feel like maybe, I don't know, to us, we were like, hey, that sounds pretty badass. And like some people would be like, that sounds really stupid. It wasn't stupid. It was super fun.
I want to see the Victorian Batman. I want to see
like the Jack the Ripper one. Yeah, I definitely want to see the Jack the Ripper one because I love that kind of shit.
We'll see it.
I wonder if it's on. Is it on?
It's on.
It is.
Yeah,
it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
What was it called again? Did he say what it was called?
Something dark, something or other. It's man. It comes up if you just search for Dracula.
Okay.
Or Batman.
Batman, or
I forgot what it's called.
Okay, so maybe that's what I would do.
You can tell just by the cover what it is. It's got people with like top hats. It looks real Victorian looking.
Yeah, see, I'm into that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Now, see, Danny Rowling says the Batman Beyond Batsuit is on the level of the Predator's armor, which could totally take out Dracula easily. The Batman Beyond suit increases strength, has invisibility camo, and he can fly with it.
Okay.
Oh, well, see, that's really helpful.
Almost like Iron Man.
Yeah, because like this, I think the suit that he has in this one, it's just because it seemed like he wasn't flying; he was just using his string or whatever.
What's a good Bane story that has Bane? Animated
yeah, because you guys know a lot more about this than we do. Because I just kind of see these intermittently, so I don't really know all the.
I know there's at least 3 of them that have Bane. I've seen 3 different designs.
Ben says there was an episode of Super Friends where Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and the mummy were zapping people with eye beams that controlled them. I think I remember that because I used to watch Super Friends. It had something to do with the Easter Island heads. Yeah. I think I know.
Gotham by Gaslight. That's what it's called.
That's right. Okay, yeah. We definitely gotta watch that because that's like right up my alley.
Yeah,
I would love that kind of shit. I love all that Victorian.
Yeah,
Jack the Ripper
Gotham
shit.
by Gaslight.
Nice. Yeah, Danny Rowling said Batman the animated series has a lot of Bane episodes.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was a different.
So can you rent the entire animated series or buy it? Maybe
I imagine you probably can.
Probably buy it
because, like I said, I didn't even realize until we watched this movie that Batman the animated series, because I'd heard of that, but I didn't know that the Batman was a whole different. And I think it ran for like 5 seasons. The one that this was spun off
they
of.
do that. They reboot a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People do it.
I mean, you might as well. There's so many like graphic novels based around that character. You can do pretty much whatever you want.
That last movie was called The Batman.
That's right.
I saw it. It made the impression that it was a good movie, but for some reason I wasn't getting into it at the time. I need to maybe watch it again.
Yeah, that was the Robert Pattinson one, right? Pattinson.
Yeah. Like I was the one like, this is okay, but it just didn't really grab me. Like
yeah, I liked it, but it didn't really.
Right. But maybe I didn't give it a chance. I don't know.
I mean, we'll probably watch it again at some point because I like to give things 2 shots.
It's really hard to beat Batman Begins for that movie there for live action.
Yeah,
I thought Batman Begins was great. I like all 3 of those movies. Those Christopher Nolan.
Weren't you watching Villagers React? The other day, and they thought that was like the best thing ever.
Yeah, those dudes thought
made in the whole history of the world.
They said that whoever directed these 3 movies is what do you call it? An incarnation of God. It says this is great, with the best movie of all time.
So I wonder if anyone's ever told Christopher Nolan that, if anybody ever sent him like a video of that.
They were all into fucking Batman.
And this was
I analyzed it and everything.
So this was the Villagers React, the one with Babu, right?
Babu, yeah.
Okay. Because there's 2 different ones that we watched.
Yeah, they
one of them is 2 younger guys.
Yeah.
And then I think that one's called Cinephiles React or something like that. But then there's one called Villagers React.
Yeah.
And it has this really old guy that they call Babu.
Yeah.
And he's just with various other people, which I don't know if they're his relatives or just other people he knows or something like that. But that dude is like fucking. And he sings at the end of every single one.
They'll fucking put subtitles. They're love songs and shit. Then what was funny is that to watch those, watch people who don't know the mythos at all, and to see their interpretation. Like for instance, in that 3rd movie from Christopher Nolan, they didn't know who Catwoman was, so they just kept calling her that thief girl. They didn't know who that cop was.
That's really funny.
And they didn't know who that cop was, but they didn't know that was Robin.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know the rest. They don't know the story.
Well, like I said, they don't really know. Yeah.
And she was never called Catwoman, as far as I know, in that last movie. They never call her that, and they never call that dude Robin.
Yeah, but everybody here would know.
Yeah, everybody here knows what that is.
Like everybody,
right?
With any cultural awareness at all. Jessa Lynn says Batman the Brave and the Bold has a vampire episode. And also Ben says for horror Batman, you need to watch The Doom That Came to Gotham. Which
it's animated?
I reckon it is.
Okay.
It's like I knew that there was a lot of animated properties like in this whole thing, but it's like I didn't realize the extent to which, because I mean this didn't play in the theater or anything. It just went right to DVD.
It did. Good.
Yeah, like when Batman Begins came out.
Yeah.
Did that come out in 2005?
Something like that. That's when this came out?
This came out in 2005. So this just went right. So it was just kind of like trading on that.
Yeah.
That big movie coming out, and here's like, here, we're going to do this animated one, but they just did it right to DVD.
Yeah, what else information have you been able to dig up on it?
Not a huge amount. Like I said, it got like sort of decent to mixed reviews. I looked here, they said, yeah, Elseworlds comic book, Batman and Dracula Red Rain. That was when Batman became a vampire to fight Dracula. There were also 2 knockoff films, which I think I want to say they were Turkish, called Batman Dracula and Batman Fights Dracula. Okay. But of course they had nothing to do with...
Right, yeah.
Because...
the Turkish will just...
That's a whole new world of fun.
They just steal shit. They have no idea what the stories are about. They just go. Yeah.
What was the
Spider-Man's always a bad guy?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, did it like the Turkish Spider-Man, like they have other titles. That's just what people over here call them because that's what they are. But didn't one of them have like Spider-Man had like a green suit?
Yeah, it was
or
red
something.
and green. It's red and green.
And then I
think
thought
it was just the color treatment. They just got it wrong, I think.
Maybe. I don't know what they were doing. Well, it wasn't even a two-tone.
Yeah.
You know, because the Spider-Man one was red and blue, but it's just kind of like, I think this one was just all green.
And you're
but it
not
had
sure
the same design on it.
You're not sure if he's a good guy or a bad guy. He does both. He goes to strip clubs. He just, it's looking bad.
It's so weird. It's just baffling a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like Turkey, more than any other country, I feel like they're kind of... They will just take any big American movie, Star Wars, Jaws, whatever, and they'll just like do a $5 ripoff of it, and they're usually like hilarious because they've usually there's no budget, and it's like they don't really have much of a grasp on what was going on in the original movie.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff they come up with is just
and they'll
baffling.
steal whole scenes. So they steal whole scenes of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Of the fucking Death Star scene, and they'll even steal, and then they'll be running fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark soundtrack in the background at the same time.
It's pretty epic.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah, no respect for copyright. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like Brandon Tenold has done a bunch of reviews of some of the Turkish. I think he did Turkish Batman, Turkish Spider-Man, Turkish Star Wars. Like I said, they have titles, but that's
what we call them.
That's what people call them over here. Also, I found out there was an early Batman villain called the Monk who was a vampire, and that was like from back in the 30s.
Huh. Okay.
So it's not really crazy because like Batman dresses like a bat, obviously. So it's just kind of like a man bat. So it's kind of like a vampire thing. So it's not really as weird as it sounds, I guess.
Right.
But I don't know. I really liked this a lot, and like I said, it made me want to watch more. I kind of like more. I don't know if I so much like just like the regular ass stories, like it's just set in the modern day or whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of like when they do something weird or like alternate universe with it. Yeah. I think that's really cool. Like I said, I really liked that Red Sun.
Yeah.
Like what if Superman had landed in the Soviet Union?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I like all those kind of what if scenarios, or like this kind of thing where it's like a weird monster mashup. I'm kind of like into that kind of stuff because it's fun. They can have, like,
just the title was enough. I'm like, Batman and Dracula. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Check this
we're gonna have to watch that. Yeah. We're gonna have to watch that.
And it didn't disappoint.
Yeah, it ended up being really good. Like I thought the fight scenes in it. Like the way that the fight scenes were edited and laid out and stuff like that, like looked really cool. I thought.
Very anime inspired editing.
Yeah,
very anime. It upped its game. It's not like old school fucking Spider-Man that you saw on television. The old animated Spider-Man was Hanna-Barbera. No, who did that? Man, Spider-Man. Boy, that terrible.
That might have been Hanna-Barbera.
I think it was Hanna-Barbera, maybe. Yeah, it was just like the gel, the a couple of frames. You could tell it was gels.
Yeah.
Just the way the shit moved, it was just like really stupid, real two-dimensional. But it was, classic shit.
Danny Rowling said on YouTube there's a Batman fan-made short film of him going against Predator and winning. It was pretty cool and done well, just saying.
All right.
So yeah, there's probably, and that's a whole another can of worms you could open is like all the fan-made stuff that's on YouTube. So if you want to see
how would Batman deal with the xenomorph?
I kind of feel like anybody would get their ass kicked by a xenomorph, but maybe not.
How would Superman deal with the Thing?
Oh, yeah. Now there's a mashup I'd like to see.
Could he stop it? Yeah.
Well, if anyone could stop it, he could, but I'm not real sure. Well, what would he do if? I mean, it would just.
I don't think it couldn't absorb him. I don't think.
Well, why not?
Because he's fucking.
He's organic. He's organic though, still, right?
I don't think he can get sick.
But I don't think that matters. I think that's just the fact that
break his skin, though. I don't think that thing could hurt him.
That he's made of organic. Yeah, but it could like get in his mouth or up his butt or something.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't think the Thing could take over Superman.
Now we're gonna have an argument over whether Superman or whether the Thing could take over Superman.
I think he'd be immune, but he wouldn't be able to. He'd be trying to save everybody else.
True.
And I
don't know.
He couldn't figure out who was who.
Well, see, that's the hell of it. That's why the Thing is the scary and always will be the scariest monster.
Yeah.
I think. Because there's no way of knowing like who's the Thing and who's not. And then by the time you find out, it's too fucking late.
You would think something like that might actually exist in nature on another planet, but I don't think so. It would be here already.
Maybe it is.
No,
because it would have taken over the whole world by now.
Yeah,
we've talked about that before when we talked about The Thing. And this is, well, actually, they even addressed this in the original John Carpenter movie, where they said how long it would take for pretty much it to take over the whole entire world.
3 years.
Yeah, so like not even that long. You know what though? It's just Superman. Like I said, he's not a person; he's an alien, but he's still a carbon-based life form, right? I would imagine. So I don't know. I think The Thing would be able to replicate him. Ben said, "Have you seen the Yugoslav Captain America movie? Steve Rogers and the Red Skull were both from a small village in Italy. It gets weirder after that."
Wow.
See, this is like there's a whole world out there of like these crazy fucking mashups that just make no sense and they're kind of wonderful. Bollywood Batman, yeah. Batman versus Judge Dredd comics are good. Oh, okay. Danny Rowling said, "I have a Batman comic book that shows Batman getting his arm ripped off by some type of creature that resembles the Xenomorph and wins." Well, wait a minute. So he gets his arm ripped off. Does it grow back? No. He's Batman. He's not a lizard man. So he has to he has to kick a Xenomorph's ass with one arm? Shit, man. Does he beat the Xenomorph with his own severed arm?
Yeah. Coming like Jeremiah Johnson.
Beating a motherfucker with another motherfucker?
Yeah.
Or beating a motherfucker with your own motherfucker, like your own fucking leg or some shit like that. They did that in Renfield too, and that part made me laugh. Like that fight scene where you tore up that dude's arm. It was just wailing on somebody with the arm. That like cracked me up.
Okay, I gotta get going.
Oh, okay.
Cooking.
Oh, that's right. He's making some eggplant. He's gonna make some eggplant lasagna later on.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll wrap it up for this review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We will see you again on Wednesday night. This is kind of like it's like a while before Halloween still, but it's just, it's kind of our pre-Halloween show. So we're going to do something spooky. So what won in the poll was more ghost ships. So I love ghost ship stories. So I got a whole bunch of new ones that we're going to talk about that we didn't talk about. We did a show like sea monsters and ghost ships like a long time ago. But I managed to get like some different ghost ship stories this time around. So we're going to talk about that on Wednesday night, so hopefully you guys can join us. So again, thanks very much for dropping by. Have a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you guys again on Wednesday night.